Welcome to the Spirits, Angels, and Guides Oh My podcast,
where the supernatural gets real, baby.
Hey, Spirit Gang, welcome back to Spirits, Angels, and Guides Oh My. I'm your host, Nancy Christine Brady.
And I'm Tara Diana.
And we have a very exciting episode for you.
Every episode is exciting, you guys. So welcome back to us. Nan's here, I'm here, and today we are diving into something that's been swirling around the spiritual world lately. And no, it is not Mercury retrograde. I don't even believe in Mercury retrograde, but some full moon madness, none of that. We're talking about how spiritual and metaphysical work has evolved. So I want to really talk about, because sometimes beautifully, it evolves so beautifully, right, Nan? Like, it's just a nice thing. And then other times it becomes over the top, glitter coated, and like galactic soup.
I love that. Galactic soup.
Galactic soup. Because we're going to talk about starseeds stuff. Okay. So we're going to explore today where the magic has stayed rooted and where it's maybe flown so far into the cosmos that it's lost touch with everyday accessible spirit work. And Nan and I have a very, very good foundation in the spiritual world. And we both have a very strong connection to other dimensions. We have strong belief structures, is what I'm trying to say. So where we're going with this is not to slag anyone, not to say this doesn't exist. It is how it's being used in the spiritual community and with everyday individuals that are trying to develop and grow. So now listen, because I already know that some of you are bracing. I know that Nan and I are not saying, like I said, that we don't believe in the higher vibrational work or other beings in the cosmic wisdom. I just said it to you and I'll say it again. We absolutely do. And we are about to move into the whole conversation of how trends evolve.
Trigger alert.
You know, I'm literally like, Okay, so let's talk about a few of these trends. Let's start with dragon energy, okay? Once a beautiful metaphor for power and transformation. I say this word wrong. I'm Taoist, Taoist, and cultural symbolism. The whole dragon energy thing. It's now often sold as like a literal cosmic force you can download for hundreds of dollars. Inspiring, sure. Necessary for connection, not so much. And what does it actually mean? What does dragon energy actually mean? Now, people use dragon energy a lot, Nan, in Reiki.
Yes, and you had a couple practitioners on your other show that worked with dragon energy, and it was really cool.
Yeah, and that's Michelle Chen, and she's actually going to be doing an event with us about the same time that this episode's gonna come out. So you're gonna want to check out the Fall Equinox Summit with Spirit Essence. She's gonna be on there, and it is very cool. And it wasn't cheesy though. And she wasn't saying for thousands of dollars, I'm gonna help you, find your chi with the dragon, and I'm gonna help you. It wasn't like that, and that was very important, as you know, with me and integrity and authenticity and all that jazz. But dragon energy is something that I feel has to be really deeply seated. It is not just, I'm just going to tap into it. Oh, I love dragons. I have lots of friends that freaking love dragons and cannot work with dragon energy.
That makes sense.
Right?
It's a powerful energy to work with, for sure.
But I feel like it's a gimmick. Except for Michelle Chen. But I feel like it's gimmicky. I feel like when we start talking about that energy, you're only really able to connect to a very small group of people with that, a very niched group of people that would understand what you truly are trying to do there. The rest of the people would need a really long, evolved, and probably cost-worthy, if your time was to be invested, endeavor into that. And that's usually not what people are doing. Remember, the internet is full of spiritual and metaphysical frauds. People looking to make a quick buck. Okay? So let's move from dragon energy, Nan, up to starseeds. Now, I believe wholeheartedly in starseeds, and starseeds for me means something different than what I've got here. So this began as a way for people to feel they belonged somewhere in the universe, which can be deeply comforting when you're feeling like, you feel at a loss, you don't know where you belong. Starseed energy is really great. The other thing that I find with starseeds is that people will look at you and be like, oh my God, you got the bigger eyes, you got this whole thing, and you look like a starseed. I do have a story, but I won't tell it today. Remind me to put the fairy story in Instagram. Just someone Okay. So it can be comforting to feel like you have a connection to something that other people don't understand. And because they don't understand it, you feel safe to be in there. Does that make sense? But it's completely drifted into like a subculture that sometimes encourages people to disconnect, like I just said, from your human life and pushing escapism over integration. So instead of you looking to figure out what you need to bring into this life, with you being who you are right now, you decide that that's hard work and it would be easier for me to just go over here and become an alien.
Yeah.
And again, that also comes down to vulnerability, right? That sense of I just don't belong and I'm feeling so lost, and someone comes in and makes a suggestion. I feel, honestly, here we go with trigger warnings. I feel, honestly, that, why can I not remember the name of the cult? Tom Cruise is in it.
Scientologists.
Thank you. I feel that's exactly what happened with Scientology. Ron L. Hubbard, or whatever his name is, met some galactic sorts up in the spaceship lollipop, and then they came back. He just made this whole thing. For real. I believe that with my full chest. But again, teach their own. Okay, light language activations. Here's another one that is going to be a big deal. I want to be careful here because I actually do believe in light language. I also believe that we can channel other cultures' language when we are trans-channeling, etc., etc. But light language has become something. I have watched several people do light language, and I have never said this to their faces. And I was like, this is the biggest load of mumbo jumbo, but they believe that they're doing it. And I am not the person that's going to come at you and call you out. I'm not. Your journey is your journey, baby. And you guys can come at me for not doing that. But there is something there that they're learning. There is something that they're doing. And if they were doing massive amount of harm with that, I would step in. But I truly believe that they are using the language to translate the message that they're getting from spirit. And it's still the positive message, more likely than not, that's meant to go through to you than if they were just sitting there and for some reason they need to feel like they are doing light language. Am I saying every light language activator is doing that? No. Am I saying there's quite a few? Absolutely I am. So light language activations, when used...
Oh boy.
I know. When used in ceremony or as a creative heart-led practice, they can be stunning, just like I just said. But I've seen them marketed as a one-step like cure for trauma or chronic illness without real-world support. And that's where the harm creeps in. That's where we have to remember that there is nothing. I don't care if you call yourself a medical intuitive, the medical doctor. I mean, drink as much celery juice as you want. You're going to lose weight because it's celery. But do all that stuff. But know that the person who's directing you doesn't have the credentials behind it from a scientific place. And may I just say this, Nan? Spirit made science.
Okay.
Spirit gave us science. So, okay, last one I'm going to get into here, and then I want you to tell me about the trends that you've seen come up and what you've kind of encountered in your work. But Galactic Federation channeling. When this came up, I've only heard of it like twice in my whole existence, and I didn't really understand it, and I paid it zero mind. The person didn't resonate with me. I walked away. But when it came up here, I was like, oh no, it really is a thing. Some channels share uplifting, expansive messages. Others predicting mass evacuations, earth-shattering events, or ascension deadlines that feed fear instead of empowerment. Mayan calendar. Right? So this is a thing, the Galactic Federation channeling. They are getting messages from all the beings, and it's every being. It's the fairies, it's the Starseeds, it's everything. It's the Ascended Masters, and it is, oh, so much it is. And Nan, come on, tell me you've heard of the Galactic Federation chat.
I have. And so I subscribe to Gaia, which is like the spiritual TV sort of network. And there's lots of cool stuff because I love me some good alien shows. I absolutely love me some good alien shows. But there is a ton of different shows on there and practitioners who channel the Galactic Council. So it's interesting. I'd have to agree with you. You know, I completely respect all the practitioners out there.
Absolutely.
Except when they do harm. And I think that's kind of the base of what you're saying, right? So when people are out there and they take something that maybe started with good intention, like the Church of Scientology, and then it becomes something so big and crazy and money mongering and fear mongering and all of the mongering and
all the mongering.
Yeah.
Look, listen, Nan, I'm not saying that your Dragon Spirit guide isn't fabulous, but if you need a passport to visit your own intuition, we might need to talk. Like, seriously.
Yeah. And, you know, the light language thing, I do know a couple light language readers that I very much respect. I follow one on Instagram. I really like her a lot. But there's another one that I used to follow, and guess what she's done? She's now turned it into, I can make you 10,000 clients.
Oh, no. Immediately no.
Yeah.
Oh, Nan, that's awful.
Yeah, but then I just unfollowed her. So that's fine.
Okay. So this is when it turns harmful, though.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not here to throw shade. Nan is just here pleasantly listening and agreeing where she wants to and keeping herself out of most of this. But I'm not here to throw shade at anyone, genuinely connecting in these ways. If you are channeling the galactic, I just happen to be able to tell if you are or you aren't. Higher vibrational beings, I can see what, is happening around you. These are all absolutely real to me. Cosmic energy, yes, ma'am, it's out there. But there's a difference between expanding our practice and selling a fantasy that keeps people from their own power.
There's your mic drop. There's your mic drop right there. Say that again.
I'm going to say it again. There's a difference between expanding our practice and selling a fantasy that keeps people from their own power. Nan, what do you say all the time?
I often say I'm here to put myself out of business.
That's what she says all the time. And it's true. On mentorship programs, right? Mentorship programs, any kind of intuitive development circle that any authentic, good practitioner teaches is going to want you to be able to be at the same level as us at some point and take over from me, baby. I need a rest. I need a rest. But we want you to do the work. Like, we want you to do the work, whatever that looks like to you. And if Nana has to take a nap because, you took her clients, she's okay with that, baby. She's okay with that. Not yet, but soon. Okay, so harm happens when it turns into financial exploitation. Okay, let's talk about it now. Now, I want to say something. There is value in an experienced, well-read practitioner. You want to learn from someone, so you're going to pay for what you get. Yes. That, and then I'm like, and sometimes you're going to pay for so much for something that you wish you'd never seen. So if you're told you must pay to be spiritually complete, that's not true. If you will go into development with someone and there will be an exchange, absolutely. And everyone is different in that exchange. Right? I just literally put the two plans together, Nan, for a 6 and 8 week mentorship program for people that didn't have a lot of financial security right now, but they really wanted to do something, and I'm at a place in my life I can do that.
Nice.
So I did that. Here's where it becomes harmful again. It becomes spiritual bypassing, avoiding the messy human work by saying, I'm from the 12th dimension. I don't deal with human trauma.
Oh, I might just have to take that and use that in my day job.
I literally was like, somebody's got to say this. Somebody's got to say this. I'm sorry. I'm from the 12th dimension. I don't deal with human drama. Period.
I love that.
It spreads fear-based predictions, making people anxious, dependent on certain teachers because they are saying, I've got what you need to be able to be okay.
Yeah.
Right? That's a big thing. And it erases discernment. Every mystical claim is taken as a literal truth with no check-in with your own intuition. That is an F on my scale of like grading. I couldn't think of what it was. Ungrading. That's an F. So, Nancy, my dogs are very upset, Nancy. I don't know if you can hear them, but
I can hear them. I'm wondering maybe you have some visitors upstairs.
I don't know, but they'll have to just wait. So, Nan, have you had clients that come in anxious after hearing like extreme predictions being told, or they being told that they weren't high vibration enough? Like you're not vibing the way you're supposed to. And I'm not talking, Nan, I want to make this clear. I'm not talking about, people coming in and say, well, you told me to do this and I didn't do it, or I did it, but it didn't work. We're not talking about that because that's a whole different ballgame, and that's usually called personal responsibility, and you didn't do what you were supposed to do. But Nan,
listen, what was the question again?
Do you have clients that have come in feeling anxious or feeling like they aren't high enough vibration because someone's told them stuff?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've had that happen a few times, and it's very frustrating when you have to unpack trauma that another medium or psychic has put on someone.
Yeah.
And they've come from someone who basically had no ethics and told them certain things. And then when they come to you and you're saying, oh, no, and they're going, but so-and-so told me. But I can tell you 100% that's not true or accurate. And then, trying to get them back into their personal power where they're not feeling like they have to go to that person all the time in order to get to the next step of their healing or the next step of their journey or the next step of their development, because that person has put them in a fear base. Right?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I totally took on a client. I mean, they'd been a client of mine for a very, very long time. And I took them on when they could have gone to anyone because I feel like people would have not treated them kindly. And I didn't want that to happen to them. So I just said, I'm the only one for you.
But that's different because you're protecting them from a place of integrity.
And also the other people that they may have gone to, right?
That may have taken advantage of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah. But you know what, Nan? You don't need 17 attunements, a $500 wand, although I have 3 of those, and a galactic membership to literally connect to spirit. You just need to be present. You need to set the intentions, and you need a glass of wine, period. And the way non-alcoholic.
Yeah. I was going to say, don't drink while you're connecting.
It can be, sometimes when you do this work, though, I mean, literally, and you come down and you finish up, I'll have a decent cup of tea then. But you come down and you finish up. Sometimes, if you are so inclined, a little bit of something that takes you the edge off the work that you've just been doing. And it's never the spirit work. It's always the people work. I think that's so wonderful. But anyway, let's have a light.
No, I think having a glass of wine is wonderful. As you know, I love wine. It's just, I always say, don't drink while you're doing readings. Don't do drugs when you're doing readings. That's something I teach all my students that. Please don't do that.
Okay. So, Nan, let's have some light bulb moments here when simple works best, because I want to talk about this for a second. Spirituality should truly be based in the simplistic mindset. we make more out of this. We will come up with rituals and all sorts of stuff up the wazoo to make this more and more and more. And again, they're all super powerful and they are all meaningful, but they are really only necessary to us as humans, right? Spirit doesn't need us all to be running around skyclad doing full moon ceremonies or new moon ceremonies or the waxing and the waning of the moon ceremony. Spirit doesn't need us to do that. Spirit doesn't need us to run around a room with a shell full of sage smoking out the energy. We need to do that for ourselves, right? Spirit's not looking for us to do that.
Yeah.
They want us to stand in our power to the best of our ability. So, Nan, let's have some fun. You want to have some fun with me? Of course you do.
Of course I do.
Okay, let's share a couple of real-life moments where keeping spiritual work super simple gave us the biggest results. Because sometimes people think they need all the bells, all the whistles, just like I said, the galactic star charts to connect to spirit. Galactic star is getting slammed today. But with spirit, when really it's all about the presence and the trust, because it's trusting the process. So I'm going to tell my story first, Nan, and then if you have one, sure. Okay. So one of my favorite examples is a client who came to me from a different culture, but absolutely tangled in rituals. She was doing, and I'm not kidding you, 3-hour ceremonies every morning. She'd be in the bathroom, pouring salt around corners. She had like 10 crystal grids on rotation. And she was like, nothing's working. I still feel disconnected. I'm not doing the work. And I told her, you're using way too many tools. You don't even know what the tools are for. You're reading this much of something that should be read about that much. So for the next week, no tools. No tools. Just sit for 5 minutes a day. And I said 5 minutes because I know she can't meditate. She says she meditates, but she doesn't. So if I said to her, sit for 15 minutes a day, I would have lost her at 3 minutes. But I wanted her to be intentional in the work. So I said 5 minutes a day. I want you to breathe and I want you to say, Spirit, I'm listening. That's it. Just, Spirit, I'm listening. Because she doesn't listen. And by day 3, she had probably the clearest message she has ever given in her entire life. I mean, she's not a medium. She does some card work, but she's not a medium. But she had the clearest message, and it was from her grandmother. And she was so happy. She was beside herself. But she didn't use a tool. She didn't have a wand. She didn't have the moon phases, all in alignment. She just trusted in the moment. And that for me was the power of stripping it back. Now, just as a side note, she has trouble going back to that space. But she's no longer running around to, partaking in every ritual. And those things are scary too, because that means that she's not getting what she needs. And so she's still seeking, she's still looking, she's still going out there, right? And that's when the people are going to see her as vulnerable, read her energy and be like, I'm the snake in the grass you didn't want to meet. So, Nan, any amazing results with your animal communication when you got in without over prepping?
Well, I'm actually going to give you a different example. So this one actually involves you. So Tara is really good at challenging her students to get out of their comfort zone. Now, I've not been Tara's student, but we met and she's like, let's do some work together. Have you done platform work? And I went, no, I haven't. Now, my previous mentor had me in a half-hour get ready to do readings ritual. And so, you would do the meditation, you do the opening, and you do the grounding, and then you'd call in spirit. And there's nothing wrong with that for people who are starting out because, like you said, as humans, we need that ritual, right? And it absolutely allowed me to step out of my human, step into my spirit. And the very last part of that process was next to my third eye, I had a light switch, an imaginary light switch, and I flick it on and I'm ready to go.
Oh, that's so ritually.
It's so ritually. So one of the first times you invited me to do platform work with you, which is where we go and we just do impromptu readings for people in an audience. I think there was maybe, 20, 30 people there.
It was in the middle of COVID, and so everyone was spread out too. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I was nervous as hell because I'd never done it before. I didn't have time to practice or do all of my meditation and opening and closing and da-da-da-da. And I literally got up on stage with you and just said, okay, I'm ready, Spirit. And I had my little switch. I just flicked it on and I gave readings.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, this is awesome. I don't need to sit in the ritual. And now there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're beginning and you want those rituals. But
you like the ritual, and
if you like the
years in, ritual away. We're not telling you not to.
Yeah. But I think it was the first time where I really stepped into that confidence of going, I don't necessarily need that. I am the telephone. I'm the connection. So
see, that's the thing. Spirit doesn't need us to do a million steps to connect. Sometimes the clearest, strongest messages come when we get out of our own way, and you stepped into your power and you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I trust. Light switch.
Yep.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
That was beautiful too. And you did so well.
Thank you.
You did.
I was terrified, but I did do good. It was, and I've done it many times with you since, but.
Well, platform work, it truly isn't for everyone. Standing up in front of a group of people, I think the most people I did platform work for was a group of 400 people at a dinner party. We were hosting the dinner party, so we had a whole thing rented out. And no, that can't be where I did 400 people. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I know that there's a lot. There's been a lot of people. Anyway, and it's not easy. My stomach always does a little tiny turn, and then I just do the switch. I don't envision a switch, but I'm just like, okay, I'm good to go, buddy, and we just go.
That's probably at that downtown event that you did.
No, it was the one with Tina I was thinking of. This is before you came into my world. We rented the Giggle Dam, the whole place, sold it out, and we had a massive dinner party there. It was so cool. Yeah, but Giggle Dam's gone. Life moves on. Okay, let's talk about, let me give you 5 ways to keep it simple and effortless. 1, trust the process. Spirit meets you exactly where you are, baby. No upgrades are required. You will come to the table with what you have. If you learn more later, then next time you come to the table, you'll come where you're at there. 2, start with presence. Sit, breathe, notice. Spirit loves stillness. So that doesn't mean you have to sit for 30 minutes. That means you take a moment. How long does it take you to do a breath? Okay, let's go, baby. Use what you have. Your intention is more powerful than any rare crystal or elaborate altar. And I will say that with my full chest all day, every day. Love me the bubbles. Love me the glowy, sparkly, shiny, reflective stuff. But I am not the medium who packs any of that stuff around with me. Very rarely. As a matter of fact, I almost never wear any of my jewelry anymore except for a couple of rings and a few bracelets. I just stopped doing all that because as pretty as they are, my nails won't let me put them on. But also they're pretty and stuff, but they're not necessary for me. Okay? Stay in your life, guys. Your spiritual work should enhance your human experience, not pull you out of it. It needs to blend. It needs to work together. And finally, question everything. Even when the most beautifully channeled message should be run through your truth filter. And I'm going to tell you this. If you're trusting the process, this will be a natural thing you do. It'll be a natural thing you do. Because you channeling a message, this just made me think of ChatGPT. I'm sorry, that person died here and that thing and over here and that one. That doesn't make sense. But even the most beautifully channeled message, make sure that you feel you're in your power. And eventually number 5 will disappear and number 1 will rule the roost.
Can I share a funny story? Or
absolutely you can.
So we were talking about rituals. And so one of the things that my son did as part of my rituals when I first started doing readings is he made me a playlist. And so it's called my Getting Ready playlist. And so one of the songs was he downloaded was Eminem, you know, the one Lose Yourself.
Yeah.
We got one chance, one shot, da 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 da. And so, you know, now I don't necessarily need to play the playlist, but I love the playlist that he made for me just because of who made it and where it came from. And I was driving home one day and the Eminem song came on and literally, book, my mediumship guide was in the passenger seat next to me going, "You ready?" I'm like, "Oh, no." So it's also very interesting because we have those rituals that spirit goes, "Oh, that's my sign that they're ready."
Oh, true.
Right? So when you get to the point where you can just actually do the calling card, "Hey, ready," right? Sometimes they still see those old rituals and they pop in. So that's my funny story for you.
I like the playlist Lose Yourself. You got one chance. Now, if that's not going to scare a newbie on platform, I don't know what will. Yeah. Nan, as the mentor, here's the song we're going to listen to before you go on. You got one chance if you blow this. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So let's do an online exercise. Nan and I have really leaned into this, providing you guys with a little something that you can do and take away from the podcast. So this is like an everyday spirit connection. And because you guys know that Nan and I love giving you something you can do right now, I'll also make sure I put it in Instagram. Here's a super simple exercise called the Everyday Spirit Connection. And I just want you to put your feet flat on the floor right now if you can. Now, if you can't, that's okay. I am not a firm believer, and I feel like I need to say this every time, that you have to have your feet on the floor to be grounded. I feel like that's, again, a ritual for a humanistic kind of thing. But I want you to take 3 deep breaths in. So and as you're doing that, imagine roots growing from your feet into the earth. So 1. Roots going down. Breathe in again. And release. Down further still. And 1 more, breathe in and feel your connection to Mother Earth. Place your hand on your heart and ask silently, "Spirit, what do I need to know for my highest good today?" Spirit, what do I need to know for my highest good today? And just let the first word, image, or feeling that comes, don't overthink it. It is that easy. Now, if you happen to have a journal beside you, write it down and watch how it shows up in the next day or so for you. If you don't have a journal, you can write it down after. Nan, what do you do to ground yourself in your own spiritual work and be open and accessible? I know you said you had a playlist that you don't necessarily use anymore. Is there anything that you do particularly that kind of, like I do the gap?
Yeah. I basically do kind of what you were just talking about. I do a quick grounding. I align all my chakras. I go up, connect to spirit. It's like a zipper, zip, zip, and I'm done. After readings, because my first mentor didn't teach us how to disconnect at the end of the reading. And so I ate a lot of hamburgers, which wasn't good.
Because excuse me, I need to finish here. Just let me grab my hamburger.
So now what I will do, if I'm out in nature, I will literally put my hands on a tree, or I will take a fallen piece of cedar and I will brush energy. There's all sorts of different things I do, but the quickest, easiest way is just you do the roots and the feet and you zip, zip, and then you do the same when you're disconnecting. Zip, zip.
I literally do the gap in the morning. And then when I'm just done a reading or done my sessions, I'm the laziest media. I'm just like, thank you. And I walk away because that's my sign. I'm done. Like no more.
For our listeners who don't know what the gap is, can you explain to them what it stands for, please?
It is grounding, ascension, prayer of intent, and prayer protection. So I ground to Mother Earth to keep me present in the day. I raise my vibration up to spirit, to whichever guide, God, Goddess, Buddha, Krishna, the God of your understanding. and I set intentions for what I would like to have as an outcome today. I use the word need. Don't get bent on a shape about it. And then I put some protection around myself so I'm not gathering everyone's energy, because I do see a lot of people, whether it's online or in person, and that sets up my day. It's called the gap. And if anyone needs it, I have put it out before. I will put it out again, but you got to DM me for it. I'm not just going to have it flapping in the wind.
Yeah. Get on our Instagram and DM us, peeps.
DM us. Okay, so booze, that is the takeaway. That is the takeaway. Explore, expand, get weird with spirit if that's what lights you up, baby. I am so getting weird with spirit is just not my jam anymore. I just like to go with the flow, do what I do well, and have fun in general. But don't lose the simple everyday magic of connection. You don't need to join a starship, speak 17 galactic languages, or even own a dragon egg. Although if you do, you for sure need to invite me over. I'm just saying. You want
And me.
Yeah, and her, and then we'll come together. You just want to be spiritually in tune. So, because spirit is already here. It's in your breath. It's in your heart, in your day to day. Keep it real. Keep it grounded for the love of the great goddess, and trust that you are enough, because you actually are.
I love that.
Me too.
So, one of the things we do at the end of every single podcast, if you are part of our Spirit Lounge, previously Patreon, but we've taken it to a new platform, is we will pull a name and we will pull a message for you. We'll pull a couple cards or a card each, and we'll give a message. So today, Tara, we are doing a message for Nicola.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to go first?
Nicola loves herself some messages, so let's do this.
Let's do it.
The Dragon's Duel.
No. Seriously, that's fantastic.
That's really no lie detected. Okay. Inner conflict, morality, conscious choice. This is an amazing card for you, Nicola. You are moving into a stage that is going to allow you to feel the confidence of who you are outside of the definition of physicality, mental and emotional. You're going to feel yourself in a space where you are not letting things that happen to you and around you define you. And this will give you the breath of fresh air that you've been looking for years. This is the positive movement forward that you have been looking for. So, the two dragons, your higher self, your human self, coming together and finally connecting. You just have to allow it to happen without judgment or expectation. Just allow it. Don't force it, Nicola. Just allow it.
I love that message. I pulled the card, Cherish Every Moment.
Aw.
And I love the fact that the image of, if for the listeners that are on not on YouTube, there's a beautiful image of a woman by herself, sort of painted in this beautiful light. And this is really about you engaging with spirit, your higher self, and sitting within your own sense of confidence and sitting in your own power. So working with that higher self energy, this actually couples beautifully with the dragon energy that Tara was just talking about. Let spirit work with you. Let spirit carry you forward. Trust that everything is unfolding exactly how it's meant to. And I feel if you could open up more to that trust, you're gonna face less resistance, because we often tend to set our own hurdles and our own challenges for ourselves, and we tend to get in our own way. And this is your way of leaning in and trusting spirit and going, yep, we got this. Let's just cherish this moment and work with that energy. So I'm going to leave that with Nicola.
Love it. That brings us to the end, guys. Make sure you're following us on all our platforms. IG is
Spirits, Angels, Guides.
And we now have the Spirit Lounge. You can find that on both Nan and I's website. Nan, your website is?
NancyChristineBrady.com.
Mine is Spirit Essence by Tara Diana. And go and check us out. See the extras that we put into that little space. You're going to love it. And you're going to love the people in the community. It's actually a community. You can interact with other people who follow us.
that's it for now. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you or hear you. You'll hear us next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the wonderfully weird and metaphysical.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to follow us for more insights and behind the scenes fun.